So, you want to become a firearms instructor. Let me tell you about everything you don't know about that. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to the Armed Citizen channel, where I talk about all the things that I wish someone had told me about when I first strapped up some 30 years ago. Please like, share, subscribe, and I always appreciate your comments, the good ones and the bad ones. Each of them helps me deliver better content to you. So please let me know where I might have gone wrong, how I can do better, and what you might like to see on this channel. Let's get on to it. All right, everybody. I am not a firearms instructor. I am, however, a former PADI scuba diving instructor. And I got certified in 1985 when I was stationed in San Diego, and then I got in the Navy, and then I got transferred to Hawaii, and I went up the steps. I just did my open water diver. This is an old card. They've since changed since then. And I moved up. I became an advanced open water diver. I went through rescue diver, dive master, assistant instructor, and finally a full open water scuba instructor. So I understand the process, and really the process between scuba diving and shooting is not a lot. I mean, they are both sports that if you mess up, you can take the ambient temperature challenge very, very quickly. So there's a lot in common. Now, maybe you think you're good and you help out friends that don't know as much, and try to help them, and maybe you think you can earn a little bit of extra scratch on the weekends, especially the way the economy's going right now. So there's a couple of ways you can go. First of all, you can just say, hey, I'm a firearms instructor. And that is not going to work out well. No one will want to go through your courses because you don't have any kind of, shall we say, industry certification like I did. In scuba diving, you could not get your tanks filled unless you presented your open water card or other certification card. Now, you don't need to do that in firearms, but if you want to teach, you have to be able to show some kind of industry certification. So in order to get an industry certification, well, what do you have to do? The first thing is you have to be stylishly highly proficient in all of the fundamentals and skills you're going to teach. And what does stylishly highly proficient mean? Well, my favorite example was neutral buoyancy as a diving instructor. And if you've never seen a person in scuba gear, they have this big old vest that holds the tank and everything and most of their gear. And it's an air bladder. And you have a button, you can fill it from the tank, or you can pull on a valve and release air. And by filling and depleting the air out of this buoyancy compensation device, you can adjust how you're doing in the water. If you are neutrally buoyant, you're going to be sitting still. If you're positively buoyant, you're going to be going up. If you're negatively buoyant, you're going to be going down. So it's always best that a diver be neutrally buoyant, so they're not dragging along the bottom and they're not fighting to stay down at depth. So in order to demonstrate this, what I used to do is I would take my class and put them on the bottom of the pool, 15, 16 feet down, and then I would be at the top. I would dump all the air out of my BCD. I would invert face down and drop straight like a rock. At the appropriate time, I would hit the little button to start pumping air into my vest, and I would stop with my mask about that far off the bottom. And then once I stopped moving, I would flip into a cross-legged position and just be floating there. I would go up a little bit or down a little bit as I inhaled and exhaled. That's stylishly highly proficient. The first time people tried that, after they took my class, they would either plow their face into the bottom or they would stop a foot or two above and still not be neutrally buoyant. So I did the skill. I did the skill well. I did the skill to the point I made it look easy. So you got to be able to be accurate and conduct all your skills stylishly, highly proficient. At this point, you would get accepted into an instructor certification class. And this instructor certification class, today the term is used train the trainer. They don't teach you the skills. You've already proven you have the skills. What they do teach you is the course material, how they expect it to be taught, and teach you how to teach, because everyone learns a little differently. You have to teach in such a way that all of your students will understand and be able to correctly perform all course materials. So some people learn a little differently, and if you're doing the skills and you see someone lagging, well, maybe you need to change up what you said or how you showed the skill, or help them out to improve the skill on their own. Being an instructor is also a journey with no destination, because you have to be constantly up to date on the current industry standards, and you can't just teach one class. You have to learn to teach many classes, because as an instructor, once you get your certification, there's two ways that you can go. Okay, the first is you can become what's called part of a stable, which means a group of instructors that take turns doing classes at a store or other facility, or you can go totally independent. Now, going independent, unless you are very, very good at multi-level marketing, don't do this. The best way I can describe this is I was unemployed for a while back when I was young, dumb, and ugly, like about 20, 25 years ago, and I answered an ad to sell insurance. The insurance interview, they were going to hire me. They only have one requirement: I'm breathing. So what they would do is, because you're actually selling what's known as financial products, you have to have a state license to sell financial products. They graciously offered for, I think, $300 or $400 to give you this class and help you complete the test. And then what they do is they turn you loose. They say, go sell our products to your friends and family and everyone else you know. They were selling whole life, which no one, of their right mind wants, but it would get to the point. Thankfully, I turned this job down. I got smart enough. But when you're trying to make income and you have to sign people to contracts, people get tired of you because you're trying to sell to everybody. So we don't want to do that. If you're going to start out, you want to start out as part of a stable. And a stable is, when I was working at Range USA, I tried to become an instructor. And I started going through the process, and then I had to leave the job. But you have to prove all over again that you have the chops to do what they want you to do. Then they put you in a pool and someone wants a private lesson, or they need to teach a class. They'll pull one of you and you go and do it. So you don't have to generate your own leads, basically. But this is, I guess the term is a training engine, right? You're going to get a class of people, and they're going to go through a basic course, and you want them to be so impressed at your skill and your knowledge and your panache to say, hey, I want to take some private lessons with him. Oh, he's teaching an advanced pistol course. He's teaching a basic rifle course. Let me take those too. So you're generating repeat business. And then if you have the ability, you give finder's fees basically to these people who have taken courses from you. Hey, you want to if you have someone sign up for a class and they give your name, I give you a little bit off of your next class. So you're building referrals, you're building a clientele. And the best way to start this out is through a stable. Once you have that down and a good variety of classes, you can go ahead and go independent. But there is a lot of things that you have to know about that. So if you're independent, you should have some kind of liability insurance, just because we're dealing with firearms. I had to have liability insurance because I was a diving instructor. You have to find a range that is that will let you teach. If I decided to become a firearms instructor, I could not go to Range USA. They only allow their instructors to teach. You could do it on the down low, but they'll catch on after you get 6 or 8 people being friends that are going to shoot with you, and they can also see that you're training them. So you got to find a range that will let you teach, let you do private lessons, let you do classes. And there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. I mean, you have to imagine yourself like a swan on a pond, right? Above the water, swan looks very smooth, very, very stylish, right? Just gliding along. Underneath, what's happening? Man, you're going 120 miles an hour trying to look cool. So you have to take that into consideration as well. And that's even if all you're going to do is the occasional private lesson from someone. When you do classes and you're not stuck strictly to a set course, which, if you're part of a stable, you're pretty much stuck with teaching their material. And if you go outside of that, then you're not teaching their material. But if you're doing your own thing, I always suggest that instructing is a two-way street. Of course, you're going to be imparting all this knowledge to your students, but you know what? You're not the smartest guy in the room. Maybe someone came up with an idea that you can use, and so try to learn one thing from a student whenever you give a class. That will improve your training materials, help you improve as an instructor. And the best way I can describe the whole situation is using the term from the guy who wrote Sherlock Holmes. There was one Sherlock Holmes story, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. He wrote a story on Holmes called The 7% Solution. And if you read it, you'll find out what the 7% solution is. But what I'm meaning is 93% of everything you're going to do as a firearms instructor is going to be mind-numbing drudgery. It's that 7% when you're actually in front of the class that is going to make it all worthwhile. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful day. Thank you for watching the entire video. If what I discussed here was valuable to you, I ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and maybe drop a few coins in my tip jar to keep me in ammo. Thank you.